Hi, Danny. How are
Hi
you?
Ramla, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. You must be very excited. You're going to turn pro. What was the final thing that kind of made you take that decision? I know you were waiting for the Olympics, and now
Mhm.
that's been postponed for a year. Was that the pivotal change?
So we, I was initially training for the Paris qualifiers. Obviously, when you know the Corona happened and the whole world went into meltdown. I always had ambitions of turning professional. So I thought about turning professional in like 2016 slash 2017. When I tried to obviously qualify, I mean, not qualify, but tried to get on the GB team. And then when that failed, I thought all my avenues were sort of exhausted. But, the possibility of competing for Somalia came about. And, I jumped at the chance because, I wanted the experience of boxing internationally and boxing the best in the world, which, I fully believe has prepared me for turning professional. It's a whole different ball game, the professional. I just saw how big the gloves are the other day and it frightened me. I swear it scared me, but I feel like being in those hard fights and being in the trenches and like doing all the hard stuff in the amateurs and fighting the best in the world have definitely prepared me for turning professional. And I'm so glad that I've waited as opposed to turning professional in 2016.
How much of an impact on your decision, if any, was the proliferation and success of female boxing during the past few months, particularly at fight camp?
I mean, fight camp was amazing, wasn't it? I feel like there was a female bout on every undercard apart from the first one. So that was so good. And what was even amazing was that nearly everyone on social media was talking about that female bout of that card, as opposed to all the other, as opposed to all the other bouts. Yeah, they were talking about Dillian White and um, crap, his name just came.
Povetkin.
Yes, they were talking about that one as well, but people were more excited about all the other female fights. So that's amazing to know that people are becoming more and more excited about female fighting as opposed to just thinking about female boxing being a gimmick. Like people are just like tuning in to watch women, and that's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty inspirational for a huge amount of women yourself. You're a refugee from Somalia, came here very, very young, overcame bullying, I believe, in school as well,
Yeah.
and to achieve on multiple levels, not just in boxing, but outside the ring as well. If there's young girls out there watching this now, what advice would you give them about overcoming challenges in the same way you have?
I feel like this is such a cheesy one, but I've said this loads and loads of times, and I feel like it's so fitting right now. But you have to be the hero for yourself that you don't necessarily have. And I was growing up, and obviously I was suffering from bullying, and I hated school and all of that, and I had nobody to turn to because in an African household you don't really talk about you don't talk about bullying, you don't talk about mental health, you don't talk about things like that. Like if I even mentioned that I was being bullied at school to my mum, or not my mum, but like like my brothers or something, they would just say, well, why don't you just go beat them up? Like it's that easy. Like they don't understand psychological trauma that you go through as well. So if I have to say something, it's to always be the hero for yourself that you don't necessarily have, and just stand up for yourself. I mean, I don't mean stand up for yourself against bullying, just mentally stand up for yourself, if that makes sense. I'm so sorry if it doesn't.
It makes sense to me. I'm sure it will to the people watching. Just tell us a little bit about your childhood outside of school. You grew up in quite a large family
Yeah.
in a East London council estate, I believe, which is
Oh,
the same
yeah.
as me, funnily enough.
What,
Although
sorry?
I said I read you grew up in an East London council estate, which is the same as me, strangely
Oh,
enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but just tell us a little bit about growing up in essentially a foreign country, although you came here when you were still very young.
Yeah, I mean, I came here really young. I don't remember when I came here because I was so young. But the one thing I do remember is that you know, we came in November and it was so cold. I came from a country that's like 30 plus degrees all year round. It's warm, it's lovely, you know, and then you come here and then it's freezing and you're like, the UK is so cold, why are we here? At that age, you don't necessarily understand why you've left your home, you know. So all I thought, I was just being a whingy cat, like, God, I hate it, so cold. And yeah, the memories I have was just, I grew up on this horrible council estate. It was horrible. I think we had like a balcony that was like this small, you know, enough to just hang your clothes on.
Which estate was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, so it was, I took Matchroom there the other day and to show them, they thought, wow, this is lovely. I was like, this is not lovely, this is horrible. It was in Whitechapel. It's called Ashington House, and it's
I know it.
it wasn't the best place. So you had drug dealers hanging outside most of the time. It wasn't a pleasant place for anyone to grow up, let alone like children. So, but you had to make the best of what you had. You know, the one thing I'm grateful for is that we had a roof over our head and we had food in our bellies, and you can't complain about that.
There's a number of people waiting to speak to you, so I'm only going to ask you one more, but just tell us about how you came to be signed by Anthony Joshua and what it's like being managed by him.
Oh yeah. So that partnership came about because I was on a photo shoot with Joshua Buatsi with the Wonderland cover magazine, and Will Harvey, who's one of the agents at 258. My husband, Richard, sort of saw him and just pounded on him. She wouldn't let him go, hounded him, said, you have to sign Ramla. She's amazing. She's this, she's that. And I think a couple months after that, I was signed to 258, and it's probably been the best thing I've ever done.
Do you have much contact directly with AJ, just out of interest?
Yeah, so I have like daily contact with him. I have his number, funnily enough, and I feel like he's probably scared to give it to me at first in case I just overused it. But he's always a phone call away. If I ever need him about anything, if I ever need advice, I can message him. But yeah, it's great to know that I have that kind of support, not only from him, but like all the boys all the people at 258. They look after me and they're like family now.
Well, really appreciate your time. I hope we get to do a more lengthy discussion once you're settled and you're ready to turn pro and you've got a date and stuff. But it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.
Take care.